I forgot how useless men are nowadays. I remember a couple weeks ago, my car wouldn't start, and it was the most annoying thing ever because it was 3 a.m. We just got out of a party, like we're tired, just want to go home. My car wouldn't start. So naturally, I call every guy that I know that's in the greater Cincinnati area, right? Half of them were asleep, so I'm not mad at them. But of those that were awake, either they didn't have jumper cables or they didn't know what to do or they didn't know how to do it, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not one for gender roles, but come on now. Is this who we are? And you may be asking, Kobe, what about your girlfriends? All my girlfriends were in the car. So I need the men that I know, and they did not come through. And now I'm sick of men and useless.
Useless, huh? That's a pretty bold statement. Before you go ahead and generalize all men as useless, let's think about a few things. I'm sure some of the guys you called that night you've been intimate with, and none of them jumped up at the occasion to be your knight in shining armor. Or the ones that were sleeping, I'm sure they probably looked at their phones and said useless. But don't worry, I'm sure they'll find jumper cables when it's time to smash. But by curiosity, did anybody call a daddy, a brother, a cousin, uncle? Or were they also useless? And if that's the case, I understand. But I guess the real question remains. What is it about you that's making these men useless? Are you attracting useless men? Or are they just reciprocating a behavior that they got from you?
It's funny that you say that men are useless, even though your first instinct was to call all the men you know. Also, why couldn't you do it? One of your hashtags in the video was girl power. Strong and independent, why couldn't you do it? Why did you need a man? That's kind of sexist, don't you think?
Apparently, there's been at least about 10 different guys to respond to this woman's video about men or modern men being useless. And the first thing I said to myself after watching these responses to her is, you guys sound like you are useless. The majority of the things that the guys responded to had nothing to do with her actual issue, with most of the guys calling her independent, girl power, you don't need no man. The problem is she needed a man. She needed a man. She needed a man. And I guess that's the main thing that nobody paid attention to. Isn't it true that men are sick of women being independent and saying she doesn't need a man? And now this woman is saying, I need a man, and no man not came, no man knew how to help. That is the thing that nobody wanted to talk about. She didn't say that none of the men were open to help. She said none of the men were capable of helping.
But of those that were awake, either they didn't have jumper cables or they didn't know what to do or they didn't know how to do it, blah, 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 blah.
Or they didn't know how to work jumper cables. Do you realize how many modern men do not know how to jump a car? Do you realize how many modern men do not know how to change a tire? Do you realize how many modern men have never touched a battery inside of a car and pulled it out and replaced it? Buy my car game and play it with the person that you're dating. Play it with somebody you're in a relationship with. Play this game with anybody you're dating. Play this game with your family members. Play this game with your kids. Play this game with your parents, and you'll get a better understanding of who's in front of you, who you are, and most importantly, how you view the world, the opposite sex, relationships, marriage. You may not realize that your views on life could be totally different than the person you're dating views on life, because you're either asking the wrong questions or you're not asking the questions at all. That's what my card game is for. Play deeper discussions and have deeper discussions. It'll save your dating life. So when it comes to her grievance, and the grievance wasn't, I don't need no man and I'm going to get a woman to help me. Her grievance was, I can't find a man that's capable of helping me. So what's the use? And the other way of saying what's the use is men are useless. So to the men watching, do you know how to help a woman if she was to ask? Because I'm an objective person and I go at women and I go at men. It just all depends on the situation. And right now I'm going at men. Men, do you know how to jump off a car? Do you know what the red pole and the black pole actually means? Do you know how a car works? Do you know how to change a tire? Do you know how to change oil? Do you know how to jack up a car? Do you know how to jack up a car? Some men don't even know how to jack up a car. So for you men running around talking mess about this woman, talking about, I bet a man that was smashing would know how to do this and do that. She said none of them knew how. And I'm sure that was including a man that she was intimate with. So in that respect, and you already know if she would have asked for some money, she would have been a gold digger or she would have been this terrible, evil person, right? So she couldn't ask any of these men for money. She couldn't ask these men to actually physically help her. What word other than useless do you want her to use? If a woman I was cool with called me 3 o'clock in the morning and I was awake, guess what? I would help her. Would I drive out to her? Most likely not. I'm just gonna call AAA. But I would actually help her. Every man she called was not capable of helping her. Are modern men useless? Because y'all run around talking all this mess about women. Why are these women so independent? Why do they keep running around saying that they don't need no man? But when they do say they need a man and start calling around saying, hey, I need a man. Hello, I need a man. And nobody shows up, or either nobody has a solution for the woman, that says useless to me. So do you want her to use a nicer word? Okay, so I guess the word useless is offensive. How about futile? How about pointless? How about hopeless? The bottom line is this. If she can't call any man in her phone, at some point, the woman or women are going to stop calling. And when they stop calling because they're tired of people saying, I can't help you, or I don't know how to help you, guess what? That is partly how so many of these women end up with this I'm independent mindset. They can't depend on nobody. So you can't get mad at a woman that is trying to depend on men. That's what we want to be, right? We want to be dependable, right? But when the men aren't dependable, how can women depend on undependable men? Why are y'all mad at this woman when she tried to depend on y'all, but y'all didn't try to help? But she's a bad person. Make it make sense. So this is what I want y'all to do in the comments. Can you change oil? Can you change a tire? Can you jack up a car? Can you jump off a battery? Can you change out a battery? Do you have jumper cables? Are modern men actually useless? Comment below and we'll find out.
Deeper Discussion card game is meant to give you and other players deep understanding of how we all deal with relationships, when or if things get serious. One of the biggest reasons why people break up is because of underlying family issues. This game can be played with either 2 people or an entire group, so have fun.
Question number 1. What is the one thing you wanted but didn't receive when you were young? Name a time when money was the main factor why a relationship went bad. What is the most annoying attribute about the opposite sex?
Deeper Discussions Dating Edition. Again, these cards are good for vetting a potential boyfriend,
Candidate.
a potential girlfriend, a potential husband, a potential wife. It'll even tell you what's wrong with your sneaky link. If you and your sneaky link need to have a conversation, these are the cards.
And you can fix yourself and
And
figure out the why.
Actually, these cards are so soft and silky, by the way. Like
They ain't gonna get
really
wore out after you-
durable.